Hello, everybody. Today, I am thrilled to have with us a remarkable individual who has such an interesting story that I believe many of you will relate to when it comes to healing and living with chronic illness or depression or anything that has taken you out of living your life fully for a number of years. We will be talking to Lisa Marie, who is an energy healer. She offers a unique type of energy healing that puts the body into parasympathetic mode in every capacity, from physical sensation to audio to energy and emotional balance. So I recently had the privilege of experiencing one of her energy healing sessions. The session is fused with healing modalities such as acupressure, Reiki, biofield tuning, even some craniosacral therapy. And it's just a fusion of a lot of different modalities that she created. She designed this type of energy healing herself. So, in trying to describe my session with Lisa Marie, it made me think of dry float therapy because it shares a similar approach that activates the mind and the body from multiple senses, including a frequency bed, sound frequencies, touch, and healing energy. And I could feel the energy releasing blockages within me and helping restore balance. And so Lisa Marie calls this a decompression session, and the description on her website states this: bring balance to your mind, body, and spirit through energetic decompression. Lisa Marie will clear stagnant energy and open up the energetic canals, restoring flow. Feel relaxed, as well as a notable decrease in pain and increased clarity of mind. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, thank you for having me. And that was an incredible, lovely introduction, leaving me a little bit speechless because I feel you described it so well, better than I can. I just usually tell people, well, you just have to experience it to understand. So
Yeah,
thank you for that.
you're
Really,
welcome. I think your website did a pretty good job of it too.
I did write that, so it's been interesting unfolding.
Yeah, so you have an interesting story of how you came into being an energy healer. And before we get into the variety of methods of energy healing that you offer, I would love if you could tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to doing this.
Okay. It started with being born into, this crazy world. And to fast forward, not waste too much time, I always felt myself pulled into healing in some direction. And so for many years, that like was for like nursing. And I worked in the emergency room, and I worked on the ambulance and the fire department because I've always been maybe an extreme. I like, um, you know, I guess different things that kind of have a very fast pace. And that led me into, I'd say, a lot of trauma and stress on top of, everything that happened in life leading up. As with all of us, our stories are so, there's so much there. And I just uh, maybe had a lot of negative patterns. I eventually ended up collectively with it as a whole in bed for 9 years, just suffering from deep depression. I completely shut down, and this is a combination of like personal life traumas, physical life, and mental and emotional traumas. And you just kind of, I shut down, went to bed for 9 years and slept, you know, in that, I guess you could say, deep rest phase. And 9 years, it was a lot of rest, but I still felt really miserable. And it was kind of a challenge to even want to like live every day. And so I felt like my soul was dying a little bit every day. And I heard someone said something on social media once, and it was just the very simple phrase of, if you want to keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you've always got. And I thought, I've set myself up for getting what I'm getting, and how would I possibly set myself up for something better? Because it's not going to get any better than it is in this moment. It's just going to get worse. So I got out of bed and I brushed my teeth. And that seems like little, but that was the start. Literally, just that one little decision that has
Hmm.
now kind of become huge.
Okay. So let me back up just a little. So you were working in the ER, or you were working as a nurse or an EMT?
I was an EMT,
Okay.
and eventually went into paramedic training, got my paramedic. I was in nursing school, and got married kind of at the same time, or like actually I was right before nursing school, so I was just finishing my prerequisites, and I got married, and quickly thereafter was pregnant and had my second child. And I felt a little bit like I kind of lost all my dreams in that moment. So I had been really enjoying what I had been doing for about 10 years in the emergency room, and working with the ambulance company, and then also as a firefighter um, in my spare time. And it just, I worked very hard to get to where I was, and I just, by saying yes to other people instead of myself, which is one of the repeating patterns that I really, embodied most of my life. Um, and ironically, I really feel like it was because I couldn't say yes to myself because I didn't know myself.
Mm.
So just maybe feeling maybe lost and not truly knowing myself most of my life. Um, I kind of stepped aside from what I was doing for myself, and I kind of started just, doing what everybody else wanted me to do. And
Wow.
maybe it was
So
easier.
yeah. Okay. So you worked. You loved working in the emergency room. So did that, in your opinion, did that play a role in the decline of your health and well being, or was it the personal? Because that is, I know that is a high adrenaline job, or was it just like the personal trauma that you were experiencing in your personal life?
You know, I think it's a little bit of both, because sometimes what is like something you love the most, or, that is like incredible in your life, can be that double-edged sword.
Hmm.
And so it can be both. It can be the greatest thing and the worst thing at the same time. So I would say there was a lot of very traumatic, dark things I had to deal with, and I dealt with them very well. Um, I was known as the coordinator of chaos, was kind of a given nickname, and so I did love it. At times, it was really traumatic, and so when I moved into a space of going into a depressive state, it was very easy now to focus on all the trauma and drama. It just kind of,
Oh, I
when you
see.
start getting into that space, then you start to draw on all those things, and you really, within your own mind, you make it all worse.
Yeah, so it was kind of like you weren't feeling good already, so you were lower vibrational
Yes.
frequency, and you just attracted more of that.
Yes. So then, with all your memories, you are literally attracting those lower vibrational ones, because that's, energy goes where your focus, or energy flows where your focus goes, right?
Right.
So that's what it is pulling on. So those would be now everything that was replaying in my mind.
Mhm.
Whereas when you start to pull yourself out of those states, you now pull on those higher vibrational memories. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally makes a lot of sense. So I wanna revisit when you said you lost your dreams. You said that was the moment I lost my dreams. So tell me about that. What was the moment and what happened?
Without maybe um, like, I don't want to say there was anything. I never have anything negative to say about whom I married at the time and my father's son. I will just say, as a wonderful human being, it wasn't the relationship that I probably needed at the time. And it was just, but not being able to express myself um, properly over a long period of time, I just kind of very easily ended up in a relationship and marriage to a great human being, just not where I should have probably been at the time. And I have an incredible son um, to show for it. But I left my job. I got pregnant. I never went back to work, and
Mm.
I really did enjoy what I did. So stepping away from that, I just now, like your mind plays tricks on you. And so then you start to rationalize and you tell yourself stories of why this is a better decision for you. And, so I thought, oh, yeah, it was a good decision because, it was very traumatizing. And now I'm left with all these memories and these horrible moments because that's just when you start to get into that mindset, that is everything that you see. And when you change and shift your mindset, everything can become like colorful and vibrant and beautiful again. Whereas in those other moments, for, many different reasons, people start to dip into these areas. Everything is like dark and sad and devastating.
Yeah, so it sounds like you at the time, like you were saying, you didn't really know yourself, so it was easy to abandon yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you say you went into a depression, but you went to sleep, you said. And I know you mean it literally, but also not so literally. So you did get up
Absolutely.
and kind of manage your life, but there wasn't much more to your life as far as joy.
No, no. It was I would get up and I would take my kids to school. I would come home, I would go back to bed. I would get up to go pick them up from school. Then I would
Mhm.
come home and I would go back to bed. I just kind of shut myself into um, my room
Wow, and you
for a
said
long
that
time.
lasted for 9 years?
9 years. I was on a lot of medications
Okay,
that
wow.
wasn't helping. Like
Yeah.
probably maybe 13 different prescriptions, and
Wow.
so my body, looking back to where I am now, I can see like, wow, my I was probably so toxic. And I can look back and now see, oh, my liver was struggling, my kidneys weren't, working right. My the
Mhm.
uh, just now from a clear perspective, I can look back and just see what poor health I really slipped into. Inflammation, my joints were all inflamed and swollen. I felt literally contracted, my shoulders in, kind of hunching over, and my hands contracting. And um, they're great now. The beautiful thing is that just through a long process of trying to take better care of myself, in little small increments, I was able to undo all of that damage from all those
Yeah,
years.
yeah, and it sounds like you were, unintentionally manifested chronic illness, physical pain, emotional pain, and in a way were unwilling to figure it out in that moment. You ended up figuring it out, but it did take you some time, and I understand because I've been there myself where you just feel defeated, depleted, drained, like you've got nothing left, no fight left.
Yeah,
So, and I know being in bed or in a depression for 9 years, you also numbed it with medication, with pharmaceutical drugs or whatever. And doing that kind of takes us even further from who we are.
it does. It's like a big gap of nothingness. That time period, um, for yeah, there was little joy. I did have a lot of joy and love with my children, and I would say they were the two motivating factors in pulling myself out of it
Mm.
because they needed their mother, and so it was it was definitely like that thing to live for.
Yeah, it's easier to put up a fight when you're doing it for somebody else and harder when you're doing it for yourself sometimes.
Right? So, that was my motivation. It got me going, and it did evolve from there where, now I feel like I have a very strong sense of self-worth and self-love and self-confidence, that
Yeah.
um, on a level that I definitely didn't have. Even when I was younger and I thought, I had a lot of confidence and I thought
Mhm.
also that I knew everything, and every decade older I've gotten in life, I recognize, oh, I don't know everything. Wait, I'll never know everything. There's not going to ever be something to not learn. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of a fun evolution to like see, from where I'm at now and to like see where it's going.
Mhm.
It's the last 5 years have been the biggest surprise, which is kind of what led us here today for this conversation. It
Yeah.
was over the last 5 years that the sound healing and energy healing truly unfolded.
Mm.
I've been out
So
of bed
yeah.
for 13 years, but
Okay.
about the last 5 years, the levels of
Mhm.
conscious awareness have really um, come about.
Yeah. Um, so when you were in bed or detached from your life, and not 100% detached, because like you said, your kids were your motivation and you wanted to be there for them as a mom, but also they brought you joy, support, love. What is it feels like those 9 years that nothing was happening, nothing was moving in the right direction. But it was just very slowly. So what was that, even like towards the end when you started, like that day you got up and brushed your teeth, like what kind of led you to that?
Um, well, what really helped actually was I was really miserable the way that my body was functioning. From like all the organs, the gut health was um, really poor, and I knew I needed to get off of a lot of pharmaceuticals. There was a lot of stuff I was taking that I was probably nonsense. But when you're in that state, you love, oh, and I need another prescription. Awesome. It's a really strange place to be, hindsight. And I started using cannabis. And that was a very amazing choice that I made for myself. I, of course, used it back in high school, years ago. And then I went most of my adult life away from that. And I just thought, let's give it a try. So you could get the card at the time. So I got the medical card and I went into a dispensary and I tried a little cannabis and it just was enough to disrupt or quiet the negative self dialogue, which was on a complete like looping,
Oh,
oh,
wow.
a lot of negative self dialogue. And so it was enough to just kind of like slow it down to
Mhm.
where I could like maybe have a moment of peace or think first, just a clear thought for a moment. And it just created a little bit of lightness and maybe a little bit of the giggles, and laughter is truly
Nice.
healing because just
Mhm.
it was just like very little baby steps. And it was like,
Mhm.
okay, a giggle. Oh, I want to eat something, but I want to eat something really good. I just don't want to, put like, it wasn't junk food that I wanted. I'd been living on junk food. I did not have a good diet either because you don't care. When you don't care what you're putting into your body. And when you be something, the cannabis actually didn't make me crave. I didn't want like chips or junk food. It suddenly was I wanted something that would be considered healthy, a salad or maybe a quesadilla with homemade salsa. small, but it really led to very big changes when they
Mhm.
all kind of came together. I was feeling lighter. I was not having as many negative thoughts. I was inspired to eat a little bit better, and now I was getting out of bed and I was brushing my teeth and taking a shower, and it just unfolded slowly. So then all of a sudden I was functioning. I was going out on walks, and I think almost every day I started adding another healthy habit or pattern. And I guess it was really a reprogramming of myself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like Bruce Lipton talks about reprogramming ourselves.
Now I've learned a tremendous amount, and I can look
Mhm.
back and I can see, like, oh wow, these were all the steps I was following, like that all these really amazing people
Yeah.
have kind of laid out. And I'd say kind of like Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess now I'm aware of the universal guidance that I was receiving. And I
Mm.
was hearing that little, subtle, encouraging, positive inner dialogue, kind of calling me out of this dark space and kind of moving into every day just a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. And
Yeah.
cannabis was a big tool, but then it just brought everything else into play. And eventually that led to yoga. And that is where I first heard a sound bowl. And
Mm.
that was like really one of the main starts to it. I think I had seen him on like a YouTube video, and in the background, someone was playing singing bowls, and I was curious, but I still hadn't had like tremendous awareness about it. And I was just really coming into my, I'd say, conscious awareness.
Hey there, just wanted to interrupt this video for a quick second to ask you a question. Are you enjoying learning about energy and healing? Because if you are, there is more where that came from. I encourage you to become a member of the tribe by subscribing to our monthly newsletter, where you will get exclusive insights and behind the scenes content. Our monthly newsletter includes valuable info around spirituality and mindfulness practices to raise the collective consciousness and your own vibrational frequency as we transition to the new earth. Healthy behaviors to have a growth mindset, your monthly frequency card pool, and ways to create more freedom, joy, and health in your life. It is a monthly newsletter. I will never sell your data, and I promise to never overwhelm your inbox. All you have to do is go to my website, scroll all the way down, and hit subscribe. Now let's get back to the video. Mm-hmm.
And so I did get into yoga. That felt amazing. But at the end in Shavasana, she played a singing bowl. And from that moment, I was like completely obsessed. Uh, and I needed to have them, and I needed to have them in my house where I could just play them, because that it just felt so incredible on my body. I guess it was because I was feeling like harmony, essentially, on a cellular level.
Wow. Yeah. And I appreciate how you said that the cannabis even brought you a giggle, which to me signifies some a little bit or the birth of self-awareness. Because realizing, oh my God, I'm actually giggling. I haven't had this and I don't know how long, but remembering what that feels like.
Yeah, it was like a taste of the joy or bliss frequency.
Yeah.
And tuning back in, and then saying and thinking, I want more of that.
Yeah,
And so
and I feel like too it's like reintroducing yourself, like saying, "There I am still in there somewhere. Let me realign with that person again."
yes, exactly. See, you have such a beautiful way to uh help reel in my words that sometimes can be all over the place.
No, you're
But yeah,
doing a
that's exactly it.
yeah, you're doing a great job, and I have that experience too of having the sound bowl and having an emotional reaction to it, like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" I feel so much joy, but also connection and even some sadness.
Yeah, yeah. um a little bit of everything. And the uh it's amazing because I know how much, like, I did a lot to get myself there. And when I started playing the singing bowls, um, it was like exponential growth. It
Yeah.
was, it really does like connect you to everything on a very deep level that is hard to describe. But I see it happening now when I play for other people. I see from now my perspective, I see it unfolding in them.
It is hard to describe because you can't really put words into what your body is experiencing. And some people are really good at it, but it's more of a feeling. It's more, and it's not the same feeling every time you hear the same sound. Your body's going to react different or feel different every time, depending on what you're going through, what you're experiencing, where you're at in that moment.
Yes, because we're changing, in all different ways every day. So it will always, hit you a little bit differently. And the amazing thing is, and why words can't adequately describe it is because it's the sound and the vibration. And it's like the purity of sound, vibration, and frequency without the contamination of words that sometimes have different meanings, or they just don't adequately encompass, I'd say, the frequency of it,
Yeah.
because it is just the sound, it speaks for itself.
Yeah. So you were introduced to sound therapy through a yoga session, and then what happened that kind of led you down the journey of becoming a sound practitioner?
It did. I started looking at bowl sets, and they were expensive, and I thought, okay, this is going to take some planning. And I just kind of um, marinated and just kind of saved for it for about 6 months, and then I bought this set of bowls. And my husband was, like, "What is that? And you spent how much?" And okay. So I started, I of course set them up, and I immediately started playing them. I would play for hours and hours. There was no getting enough of it.
Wow. Yeah.
And like the third time that I like walked away for a bit from the other room, I could hear the bowls. And that was my husband, who this is a different husband than whom I was married to before, by
Okay.
the way. So just to this is we've been married for almost 10, I think 10 years now.
Okay.
Um, I've been out of bed for 13. We've been married together for 10. So anyway, he was playing the bowls, and then it kind of became like a, you know, get up, I want to play my bowls. And he's like, well, I'm enjoying it. And we kind of like then started trying to play them together. He would play three, I would play three, and we would try to like harmonize. But really, we both became quite obsessed with them. And he does play sound with me sometimes. Um, but I really was kind of off on this journey of self exploration and getting to know myself, and the sound was just calling me. And after doing this for myself for a while, and then for my husband, and we would do it for each other, I thought like everybody needs this. And I just um, started going to different places, and asking for space to play. I started doing it, is how it happened. Just I made the choice. I found someone that would let me use their space, and I just threw flyers around town, threw it up on Eventbrite, and filled up the room with like, I don't know, I think we had 33 people at the first one.
So you didn't take lessons or anything. You didn't learn on YouTube. You just kind of like got introduced to it, bought one, bought two, bought, and it just grew from there. And you just would go with your intuition.
I did take, I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I should take some kind of a course. And
Okay.
there's nothing like that anywhere near me, so I did take an online course. It
Okay.
wasn't very expensive.
Hmm.
Um, and but it was very minimally informative, for the
Mm.
basics. I'm sure you can take more courses to like get deeper, but I was doing pretty good just playing with
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
playing around,
Mhm.
and I figured some things out because it just really tuned me into my body, and I could tell like, oh, when I do this or play this sequence or these ones together, this is what I feel, this is where I feel it, how it feels, or
Oh, wow.
what I'm noticing. I noticed like while playing, little like calcifications would just surface right out of my skin.
Mm.
Like, I like all of a sudden it'd be like a grain of sand on my nose or on my forehead. And it was just literally pushing weird things, like literally right through my skin. I could feel it like circulating my lymphatic system, resetting my nervous system. Um, it was it was like very surprising. I watched my husband's stress level, anxiety level completely diminish, his anger, um, occasional anger issues completely, like it just turned like turned all those things down.
Yeah, yeah. And I know have grown your instruments to a huge variety. You showed me it looks like a drum, but you put it upside, it's like a rain drum. What is that called?
The sea wave
The
drum.
sea
That sounds
wave.
like
I
the
love that
ocean.
one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's waves crashing, and I have a large one, so it's like big waves crashing. And it takes, like, if you want to play it soft, it's kind of a challenge, and to play it really well, you have to be the wave.
Yeah.
So I literally, everyone's laying down, they have their eyes closed, no one's watching. So I walk around being the wave so that I can have that really nice smooth ocean wave. I have two gongs. The first time I played a gong, I was, again, like the Bulls, madly in love. And then eventually I got a 40-inch, and I don't know if I could go bigger than the 40-inch gong and still like be as mobile as I am. I really like it because just practicing and being playful with the music, I've learned to stack the different instruments. So I use a couple different drums, like a steel tongue drum, the gong, and the bowls together. I can layer the frequencies to
Mhm.
where I get this harmonic resonance that then just opens up exponentially, like the sound and the energy that's moving in the room. And you'll have to come to one of my sound baths, and then I can demonstrate what I mean for that.
Okay. I would love to. Um,
Yes.
so when you do the sound baths, do you go into it with a specific idea in mind as far as what um what you're going to play, in what order, or is it more of like organic, you just kind of start it and it goes where it goes? How does that work?
It's pretty organic. I used to maybe um, script myself at the beginning of it,
Mhm.
because I kind of just needed to like know, like, I mean, I literally actually typed out even like sequence scripts for myself with like how many minutes to do this, and like I really like broke it down. And but it definitely evolved beyond that, where it's very organic. It just takes time to learn how to tune in to the people in the room and to go
Ah,
with the
okay.
flow of whatever needs to come out and be played. And so I have definite sequences that I try to play in every sound bath, just because I know what it will do to the body. I know, okay, if I do this sequence here and then a little while later or halfway through, I come back to that, there's just an amplification that happens of the opening. And it's also occurs as you're building the sound in the space. Which is why I really prefer indoor sound bath, because it kind of contains and it allows me to build the energy in the room, so that when I come back to a sequence, um, I know specifically one that I really like because it opens up the sinuses, and it just opens up, resets the vagus nerve, and people immediately feel like this ease of breath. And so things like that, I will usually always end up in the flow, but it's
Mm,
very much just, I just kind of, you could say, maybe channeling the songs, the universal symphony that's in my head, or the cosmic melody, is what I kind of describe it. It's very much like universal sounds of creation,
mhm.
and maybe some kind of etheric and angelic um, sounds. And it's like melodies that these are the only instruments that I've ever been able to play to get these different um, melodies that I hear in my head out. So
Yeah,
that's
that's so interesting. So you just tune into the energy into the room. It sounds so simple, but it's kind of like once you start playing the bowls or whatever, you kind of start the energy starts to rise or to come out of the individuals and you tune into that.
I do. I get feedback from my instruments.
Mm,
I and it's really hard to put words to it, but I feel like the way that the energy flows through the room or where it gets like meets a little resistance, maybe in an energy field or a physical body, like you can kind of see how people are reacting or like where it's flowing, and you can definitely feel it. And it's like a feedback loop, so it just we continue to like try to see what sounds kind of shift the energies
mhm,
or create a softening and bring ease. And sometimes it's just one bowl for a very long time.
mm,
And it kind of creates that entrainment of
mhm,
the brain. And so it can be different. And I play to a lot of different um, varieties of clients. I play to people that are on the path of coming in to know themselves, conscious awareness, and wanting to learn about meditation and breath work, yoga, and sound. And so, but they're on that journey. And I also play for people who are not necessarily on that journey yet. Um, with like our local mental health department,
mm.
I've been like very honored to be invited to play for their clients, and it's kind of led to some uh, other modalities. So, like also children, on maybe the spectrum of autism or have a variety of sensory um, disorders or issues, and so the variety of people that I've been able to play for, and just playing a lot. I play like hours every day. So you can kind of just get into that flow state. And
Mhm,
then it kind of like everything just kind of comes out of me, and I don't really have to put too much thought behind it. So I
mhm.
can then start to like have awareness of what's happening in the space and in the people that I'm playing for. And so it's been really fascinating to kind of see these different groups of people at different stages in their life path, and
Yeah.
see changes unfold.
Wow, that's so powerful and how your journey to where you were, then to healing yourself, and now to be able to heal others. And the thing with sound and all and energy is that it doesn't judge. And it doesn't even allow room for judgment. So I know a lot of people will go try therapy, but there's a stigma with therapy. There's a lot of self-judgment when it comes to taking therapy. And then there's medications. There's a lot of side effects with that. But with sound and energy, it's just like just show up as you are.
Yes, and that's where I'm able to pull in people that really want to do something different. They don't know where to begin, or they're overwhelmed with the thought of like going to a gym or to yoga, or like all the different things that people usually think of, like, oh, I want to do better for myself.
Yeah.
Here's the list of things I'm supposed to do. It is so simple. Bring a blanket, bring a pillow, lay down, and just be
Right.
comfortable and do
Yeah.
nothing. Like completely everything outside of that room can wait. You
Yeah.
just come in and you
Yeah.
can actually permission to do nothing for a bit.
Exactly. And I like how you said connecting with the vagus nerve because that is such a powerful part of our body. Can you talk a little bit about that or what you know about that?
Um, that I kind of look at it as that switch, between sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems.
Hmm.
And so, what I do notice in my energy sessions and the sound baths, what happens is there's a lot of yawning and sighing. I also noticed when kind of fine tuning my energy work was working on my husband. And it was a while before I started correlating, like, oh, the yawns and sighs are not him saying, oh, I'm tired and I need to go to bed. It was his nervous system resetting. And so when I have yawns and sighs in a sound bath, I know, okay, we're resetting nervous systems. I'll
Mm.
hear pops, cracks,
Mhm.
ankle, someone will like tighten their hand, their knuckles will crack, or, or they'll intentionally go to crack them, or someone will like start cracking their neck when they get up after, maybe they get a chiropractic level adjustment on their spine, but it's all decompressing the system.
Mhm.
And that's the only way I can describe it. I feel like it stimulated that lymphatic flow, it reset their nervous system, and they found ease. So these things can kind of decompress. The cells can like off gas.
Right, because the body wants to heal itself.
Yes, we're giving it a space
Yeah.
where we kind of reboot it.
Yeah.
And, there are some studies that are kind of coming out and talking about the different things that can stimulate stem cell production within your body. And those stem cells are wonderful because they can kind of go anywhere and become what they need to be,
Mhm.
to kind of get things working.
Mhm.
And, because this is frequency, these sounds, these are frequencies, and they have an enormous impact on the body and the energy field. So it's literally clearing out all the gunk that we're holding on to, and it's helping push the lactic acid out of our muscles. It's um, removing blockages, it's surfacing things, and so those can also be emotional traumas. So you have to be prepared that your eyes might start leaking. I've had people like all of a sudden, like, some cry and maybe even have sobbed a little bit because they finally just allowed themselves to feel. Other people, their reaction is like the tears are just like gently dripping and releasing, and not that they're feeling like heavy, they're feeling the release. Um, and it's just a soft and gentle,
Mhm.
tears falling without like that like need to like sob. And they're just like, wow, like, what is this? This
Yeah.
is strange.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I like about that is you get that release, and then afterwards, you get to kind of ask yourself, you're kind of wide open, and when you go home the next few days, you get to ask yourself, "What is it in me that I need to work on, that needs healing or that needs to be addressed? What have I been neglecting in my life, or what am I prioritizing, and what needs to be, kind of reshuffled around so that I'm prioritizing my happiness, my joy, my well-being."
Right. So with the sound and with the energy work, I and I see people everywhere. They seem so compressed, so tense.
Yeah,
And so when you're in that state, that fight or flight state, you can't have those like really like
right.
deep thoughts.
Yeah.
You just you have no space for it. So
Mm.
the sound and the energy work, I feel like, just helps shift things, maybe kind of get it creates space so that
Create
now we
space
can
and
have
help
like catch our
relax a
breath.
little.
Yeah, you can just catch your breath. And that just right there, catching your breath, resetting the nervous system, it
Yeah,
just creates that space where you can now like maybe have a really good night's rest and then have some good, deep, cohesive thoughts about, what is the next best step for yourself.
yeah. So, Lisa, you are a sound healer, energy healer, and I know you also incorporate tuning forks into your practice. Can you tell us about the different types of modalities you offer?
So I usually start the session with some tuning forks, that are 432 hertz and in harmonic resonance with like the earth vibration. So I feel that is like my process to start by grounding someone. So I
Okay.
just like to like ground and allow energy to settle, and um, then maybe a couple decompressions in the back of the neck. Essentially, I just do some light pressure on the back of the neck, and I begin the nervous system reset. And I do the work on a sound table, vibroacoustic sound bed, and I play real specific frequencies for whatever I think will suit the client the most. And so, quite often, pain relieving frequencies are very helpful because they also act as a deep relaxer and have some binaural beat qualities. So,
Mhm.
as we're relaxing, we're also stimulating those both sides of the hemispheres of the brain and kind of synchronizing the brain a little bit. I also try to connect people to their bodies somewhat, just so they can start being aware. So I might like give people an idea of what they will feel or experience. You know, you may have stomach gurgles, but like I may press somewhere on your arm or do some work over here on your shoulder or in your lower leg, and you might feel stomach gurgles or like some gas bubbles or some different things. So I do work the meridians a lot, um, and everything along the body, the feet, the hands, the tongue, the face. You know, they're different. They all have the same correlations to your body systems and organs, and so everything kind of has its own little body map. And I try to um, utilize that quite a bit. So I kind of let them know what they might feel and experience, so they can also be building. I do this in sound bath also, so that people can start building that connection back to their body and understand what they're experiencing and feeling. Because when you know and you recognize it, you can then do other things that are going to benefit different parts of your body where you're having trouble.
Mm. Yeah, that felt so amazing and put me into a state of relaxation. Just even before you did everything, just kind of the acoustic bed was so comfortable, and so I don't know, it had certain waves that just relax the body, and then the binaural beats, and then the energy healing that you did, and the massage. It's kind of like a massage, but it was very specific. It wasn't trying to roll out kinks or anything like that. It was just, like you said, touching the meridians.
I just, you know, touch in certain places to open up pathways, and I allow the body to do self adjust. So I might just lift your arm up, or sometimes just a little wobble, you know, in
Mhm.
something, and then all of a sudden your wrist, you know, cracks into alignment. Like it just, I create the space for the body to begin aligning itself.
Yeah, and you
And
designed this yourself, this whole method that you have, right?
yes, my husband, who was a dirt bike, avid dirt biker, you know, has broken many parts of his body. So he's got like, and he's had valley fever and Lyme disease. And so very, very, very challenging
Yeah, serious.
situation. And so
Mhm.
always in a lot of pain. Everything's always like everything's feeling like blocked, and the energy channels just kind of like um, kinked. So, and just trying to help him feel better um, over several years that I kind of worked on him. And I would notice that like maybe I'm belching. Well, I'm telling him like, you need to work on me like this because look at all the good it's doing for my body. And after a few years, I started recognizing, okay, this is kind of like that transmuting of energy. This is like
Yeah.
our bodies talking to each other or through each other. I thought something was wrong for a couple of years with my ears
Mhm.
because I was getting um, these pops and clicks and like wafflings and just different things that I would hear. And it finally kind of the full picture is that I was hearing the energy channels open, and it was like
Mm.
pops open. And so it was almost like bubble wrap being clicked. And sometimes it would be like pop, 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 pop. And other times like little pops, sometimes big pops. So I was able to start correlating because I would notice him yawn or sigh or something crack at the time I'm hearing these pops and cracks. Like I would hear it, and then his body, all these things would shift. And you know, but for a long time I thought like, what is wrong with my ears? Like, you know,
Yeah.
this is weird. But I feel like the sound bowls are
Mm.
what activated and cleaned
Mhm.
out my ears and
Mhm.
and enhanced my, I guess you would say, auricular nerve,
Okay.
which also does have a lot to do with your vagus nerve.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
So
Lisa.
it's
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's hard to really describe these things, and I wish
Mhm.
I could have like a mic that would hear this stuff in my ear so people could hear what I'm talking about. But now I've done enough work on a variety of people over time because I noticed this move really helped my husband, and then I do
Mhm.
it on myself, and it's like, oh my gosh, my headache went away, this went away. So I would see someone, somewhere like struggling with something, and I'd be like, I would just have this like pool to say, "Hey, I can help you with that,"
Yeah.
and so I've in parking lots in the driveway. It's just really weird. It's just like I'd say like divine inspiration is moments to like say to someone, "Hey, I see that. Can I show you something?" And or in a yoga class and in a lot of different places, I would just do some of my signature moves, I call them, or my party tricks, and they would describe what they were feeling,
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, I feel that like all up and down my body," and I'm just here at the back of their neck.
Mhm.
And some have described it saying they felt like negative thought forms just kind of popped out of their head, or just,
Wow.
they feel a lot of lightness and clarity of
Mhm.
mind just from this 1 minute maneuver, of just pinging
How long
their
would you
nervous system.
say you've been doing this decompression session?
Um, Well, like figuring it out on myself and my husband, we've been tinkering with it for about, a solid 5 years.
Okay.
At 4 years, like greater awareness, like
Mhm.
as the time has progressed, like greater awareness and understanding of what we were doing. And there was a lot of other things we were doing to maybe enhance our um, awakening, you might say,
Yeah.
or conscious awareness and getting to know ourselves. And so the more we kind of did all of these things, the more pieces we were putting together and the more things kind of came into alignment and made sense. And so I've done it a lot just in passing with friends and people that I know, just here I can fix that shoulder pain. I can, oh, here, let me do this. Oh, your knee, here, let's do this. And and even from a distance, my dad, talking about his hip pain, and then he thought he was going to have surgery. So I'm like, well, if you notice over the next few days, it feels better. It's because I'm sending you energy. And he's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And, I talked to him a few days later and not one complaint about his hip pain. And,
Wow.
some weeks went by and I asked him, hey, how's the hip been? He's like, oh, yeah, no, it's doing great. Like, I don't think I need surgery.
Wow, so you're also a medical medium.
I guess so. I don't really call myself anything, but I do know that I can, do it from a distance.
Yeah.
I can do it up close. I can do it through sound.
Do
Uh,
you offer distance healing as well?
I do. I yet to actually have a
Okay.
official distance healing session, but I do offer it, and I do it for people I know quite often. Um, Trying to send them energy, especially when I know they're struggling.
Yeah.
Whether they um, just because. And I do it, of course, with my children and try
Yeah.
to like quietly from behind the scenes, whatever I can do. But I am available for that, and I do know that it um, works pretty surprise. Like every time I do something, every time I work on someone, it's like I'm surprised all over again. Like, wow, this is
Right,
like
yeah.
magic. It really
Mhm.
works. Like how and I feel very lucky. Like how lucky am I that I get to do this? And
Yeah.
I come from a deep gratitude that I even get to do this and make people feel better. And now I get paid for it. I get a good
Yeah.
energy exchange. And that's like, I'm just in awe every moment of every day that I get to walk this path.
Mhm.
Um, and so for really about 6 months now, I've been more open with people that I do these sessions,
Mhm.
and I don't really put it out there too much because just like kind of starting that little like uh just a little opening of it, and everyone that I've worked on so far has, they come back on a regular basis. They tell people, they bring people to me. I get a lot of I'm very busy on just referrals, and
Mm.
it's just growing, and it's really that universal pool. It's like it comes effortless. I just kind of am going with the flow and allowing it all to unfold and
Mhm.
appreciating every every moment of
Yeah.
this ride. It's pretty awesome.
So so Lisa, what type of rituals or practices do you incorporate into your daily life?
Uh, well, I really love the morning sun, and that was where a lot of pieces came together by just going out into the sun. I heard about people doing this, and I thought maybe I need to do that. And I heard about people kind of like maybe healing their DNA, and I just didn't quite understand what a lot of the things they were talking about was. So I thought, well, let's start with getting into the sun. So I started a morning practice of just finding a quiet space by myself and sitting in the sun, maybe 15 minutes, and just having um, like beautiful thoughts, and literally asking the universe to enlighten me, that I was
Mm.
tired of not getting it, not understanding,
Mm.
and feeling, lost. That, I'm here, I'm ready. I would open my palms to the sun and just sit and kind of meditate on those thoughts. And I still do that every day. And I get just beautiful thoughts gifted right back to me, and
Yeah.
awarenesses and understanding. So that's an important one. And I also I've kind of like slowly moved to this where I'm a little bit sleeping with the sun. I heard someone say it once, and I, hadn't really thought about it. And then I started thinking about it, like sleeping with the sun. That's really interesting. So, I try to get up early, with when the sun's getting up, and like when I'm getting home, I'm pretty much going to bed after a long day. That if the sun is setting, I'm in bed and I'm settling in for the night. And that has really, I added that like a few months ago, and it's really been helpful, I think, resetting a lot of processes in my body.
Mm.
So I think there's something to sleeping with the sun,
Yeah.
and, um, playing sound at least once a day, if not a couple times a
Mm.
day, tuning into the sound. And
Mhm.
whenever we have a little bit of a homestead thing, which is where I'm sitting in our orchard. Whatever is in season, fruit wise, it's our ritual to stand at the tree, pick and eat right there. And we
Wow.
just go from tree to tree with whatever's ripe, and we enjoy that, like that super fresh, like incredible flavor. It's hard to describe. So, if it's cherries or apricots, right now we have apricots in, and we eat with the season. So whatever's in
Yeah.
season is what we try to put into our body.
That's beautiful because it's a way of connecting with nature, but also with the present moment because we can't grow pineapples in winter, or I mean, we don't grow pineapples here in California necessarily, but there's a season for everything, and really kind of meeting that season where it's at and being grateful. It's also a way of kind of giving gratitude to the sun, to the earth, to the rain, everything that helped bring these things into existence.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And
Yeah.
so, that's a whole other, aspect of our journey, is
Mhm.
trying to grow food, and, um, just learn how to be as self-sustainable as you can be, which is a
Yeah.
real challenge. At first, we thought, oh, we're going to be able to do everything for ourselves. And, it's been a comedy of errors over the last 8 years since we've been uh, down this journey. But it really has kind of it all comes together, and it's all connected.
Mhm.
Every little thing that we do now, we can kind of really see where all the pieces come together. And it's absolutely beautiful to be able to, like, you know when we have avocados in season and our citrus, and we're trying to grow something at every part of the year. So
Yeah.
and for everyone, everything, something's coming in season different everywhere. So it's
Yeah.
also kind of ties into like the geographic area. So you should be
Yeah.
eating, you're eating for what you need in that area, because what is ripe at the certain times is what's going to best suit your need.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
it's very basic and it's very simple. Um, and it's nature. It was
Yeah.
giving us everything.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have lost sight of that, and of connecting to where their food or nourishment comes from,
Right.
and being mindful over, taking care of the body. Not that I'm perfect, I'm by far from it. um, it's a battle every day to avoid convenience food, or
Yeah.
sweets, sugar. So it's an ongoing, like my
Right.
body doesn't react well to it yet, still somehow, like every couple of weeks I'll have something, sweet, and uh like, oh wow, I feel it here and here and here, and the inflammation is almost immediate. Why do I still do it to myself when I'm totally aware? But that's just, I guess, part of being human.
We're human.
We're human.
Yeah, we're not perfect. So, what advice would you give to others, whether they work in a, high demanding type of position or high adrenaline type job, or for those who are just kind of wanting to create balance and nurture their well-being and maybe feel lost or overwhelmed?
Thought, your thoughts really do form your reality, or what you're perceiving. So to try, to be mindful about the thoughts that you're having, and that dialogue that you're having.
Mm,
If you're struggling, you probably have a lot of negative self dialogue, and that is something that we really have to shift, because
mhm.
if we're not nice to ourselves, um,
Yeah.
and trying to remind yourself about patience,
Mhm.
kindness, and grace. To give yourself grace, give others grace. Uh, life becomes a mindful practice. Like every moment of life kind of becomes an intention within itself, if you're
Mhm.
trying to evolve or grow and move forward in a good way to feel better. So it really, you just have to find what practice is going to work for you. And a wonderful place to begin is 5-10 minutes out in the sun in the morning, you know as early as you can. um, get out there, preferably before 10 a.m., but just to like sit there quietly and maybe ground, connect to the earth,
Mhm.
connecting to things around you, connecting to the sun, because that will just, in small increments, connect you to yourself.
Mhm.
And so just when you start connecting to yourself, you automatically start becoming more mindful. So
Mhm.
you almost don't have to really worry about it, other than like a small incremental step, just like one little thing, because that little thing will lead to the next little thing, and so on.
Yeah.
And that's how real transformation that is like sustainable can take place.
Yeah, so we had a couple of long conversations, and I feel like you have a certain philosophy on that maybe you didn't always have, that you came into. So tell me a little bit about what your philosophy is on life and living, your future, or whatever you want to kind of touch on here.
Being present in the moment, because I spent decades in a state of worrying about the future, and um, stressing and kind of beating myself up about the past, and really being present and enjoying the moment. Again, it's so simple, yet it is so hard at the same time, to just find that being present and just not worrying, because it doesn't change any outcome to
Yeah.
we just create these storylines and all the possibilities, and then none of it unfolds, and we went through all of that and had a physical reaction for absolutely nothing. So just, take things as they come, don't worry, and we all just need to get over the past, like on every level,
Mm,
and step into the present, exercise, compassion, kindness, grace, literally for everyone. Like if everyone just decided one day, let's just be kind and extend grace to everyone and patience, what kind of space would be we be living in? It would, completely transform. And
yeah.
because it doesn't feel good to be in a divisive state or angry, hostile, fear based, in the worry. So yeah, just finding, um, presence
Yeah.
in yourself and in your body.
Mm, that's beautiful. And so tell me a little bit about your I think you said you have Thursday evening workshops?
I have Tuesday evening.
Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday evening every week I do sound healing
Mhm.
at a yoga studio in Exeter, and that's been my most regular event. And then there's some other places where like I do like a one Monday a month or a Saturday a month, but I'll be starting Friday nights very soon in where I do have an office, so I can do small sound baths in it, but we also have some really cool wellness tools, like something you're familiar with is a biocharger. And
Mhm.
so I thought Friday nights could be really fun to do um, biocharge and sound bath. And that's also in the office where I do my energetic decompression work and have the sound table. And so it's all, incrementally coming together. I used to
Yeah.
go to people's homes with my sound table to do energy work. So sometimes that's a lot of work, it's packing
Yeah.
it up and moving it, maybe sometimes 3 times in a day. So to have like a space where I'm like, now I have a home base, I can do small sound baths. And then I do a lot of things privately all over the place, like my county work. I do some things with the parenting network in Visalia, and they bring uh, different support to struggling families in the Central Valley. And I have the privilege to go in and bring them sound healing and beginners yoga. And I try to give them tools to take home. So I'm kind of all over the place doing
Yeah.
something. I'll do something wherever someone will invite me in or let me do, very
And where
eager.
can people find you online?
I do have a website. It's lisamariealchemy.com. And I am Lisa Marie Alchemy on Instagram and also Facebook. So the website can kind of link you to everything I have going on.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, so Lisa, let's have some fun. I'm going to ask you a few oddball questions and just to get a sense of your personality. So, what is currently bringing you joy and inspiration?
I would say working with sound and the energy work has been probably my highest joy, because I also feel like it was something that was always deep within me. And so it's me connecting to who I truly am at the core of my being.
Mm.
And so that would probably be number one.
Okay. Is there something you recently stumbled on that you found interesting and that you've become sort of obsessed with, whether that's a book, a podcast, a movie, a new hobby, anything?
Oh, I'm sure there's something there. Like when I just need to have like some downtime, I do like to watch, I'll watch some old TV series or movies,
Mhm.
because I am totally entertained by rewatching something with the perspective or the mindset that I have now, or the information that's swirling around
Mhm.
in my head, and I can see a completely different aspect of some of the things that have been, you know, put put out there, or I can see like the programming, or I pick up on different things, and I'm kind of entertained by that, or a
Okay.
lot entertained by that.
What would you say is one of the biggest lessons in your life?
Okay, yes, that growth is unlimited. Literally
Mhm.
growing up, I for some reason I just thought like, oh wow, everything's already been done. I remember having a lot of interesting thoughts as a child, but at one point, maybe sixth grade, I went from having like, up until like maybe seven or eight, pretty expansive thinking, to a shift where I thought everything's been done, everything's invented. What are we even supposed to grow up to want to
Right.
do? Because
Yeah.
everything seems to be there, right?
Mhm.
And that was a self limiting
Yeah.
thought or belief. And so the belief and thought of that it is absolutely unlimited, there's expansion, never stops. It's infinite. And so there's always something more. There's always
Mhm.
more to learn,
Mhm.
more healing, more, there's more of everything. So we'll never be bored.
Never, yeah. What's your take on regret?
It takes up space that doesn't need, it's just is taking up space, and it's a hindrance to live with regret because you can't change it. So you have to embrace it. If you have some guilt with it or some shame, whatever those things are with it, you just have to decide to let go, because regret will hold you back, as will fear, as will um, quite a few thoughts or emotions. It will just hold you back
Mm.
from your highest potential.
Mhm. And what is your vision for us as people or all the species here on living on this planet? Your hopes, your dreams, your desires, or what do you see, is coming?
I try to kind of come from a space for myself, living, loving, learning, teaching.
Mm.
And I just try to keep a lot of like belief structures suspended so I can just tune in to the moment, to what I'm hearing, but just like a flow of living, loving, learning, and teaching.
Mhm.
So we're always growing, always expanding, and hopefully always trying to harmonize more with everything around us. And I would like to see, the hippie in me wants to see peace and harmony
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Well, Lisa Marie, it's been a pleasure having you here. I've really appreciated getting to know you over the past month or so. You're really enlightened. You have a beautiful energy, and you just want to give that to the world. And I have a lot of deep respect for that. I'm looking forward to coming back. Definitely trying out the sound bath that you offer, but what I'm really excited about is going to your land and talking about homesteading and what led you to that, what you have going on, and just kind of taking a deep dive down that path with you. So,
I look forward to it. There's definitely a lot of different deep dives we can go on,
yeah.
and that'll be a good one. So I look forward to that, and I really thank you for having me. It's like the next kind of step in my evolution is actually finding comfort in uh, talking to people. Like I
Yeah.
can talk to them in person, but like I still have a hard time talking online and having dialogue and learning to like just um, take my time. And so it's every little thing that I get to do, including this, is like something to just, you know, bring something else out in me or activating new potentials. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.